when this happened, Ray was 59. And I want to talk about what happens at 59. And I follow me here. We're going to get back into it, but stay with me. This is so important. Next week I'm going to be doing a show fully on Saturn returns. I've talked about it and I've teased it and we've mentioned it, but I'm going to really teach a good lesson, I think. I'm really excited about it next week on Saturn returns, but Ray was at his second Saturn return when this event happened. Now, when you're dealing with a second Saturn return, you are dealing with the developmental pressure to be a better producing member of society. We have our first one when we're 28 and a half. It takes Saturn 28 and a half years from the time we were born to get back to that place in our chart. People think you come of age at 18. You really come of age at 28 and a half to 32. I will give deep examples about that next year. But the second one happens at 58 and a half to 60, and then the outer bands, it's almost like a hurricane. I will tell you, it's a 4-year span. Specifically, tightly, the eye of it is about 1.5 to 2 years, okay? So it's about that 58 and a half or 28 and a half to the 30 or to the 60-year-old mark. So we'll talk a lot about it next week. But in the second Saturn return for this guy, this is what's happened. Forces are asking you to take a long, hard look at reality. How much time do you have left? How do you want to spend your time? There is really no time left for procrastinating, and it's otherwise time for you to get things done. Otherwise, these books that are in your heart and the things that you want to accomplish or the paintings you want to paint are never going to get painted. And ironically, as the time diminishes, it passes with really quick speed at this time, and your Saturn return is a life review. It's about soul searching. It's about, the question it's asking you is, how did you get here? Is this who you really want to be? It often represents a crossroads of sorts and an opportunity to deal with unfinished emotional, physical, or material business. And so sometimes this means getting rid of people, jobs, or situations that no longer fit who you want to be. There's a real taking stock that can culminate in this kind of purging and reordering of your life. And the death of the old way of doing things is going to be painful. I think for this James Arthur Ray guy, it was painful. But subsequently, there's often a feeling of relief and gratitude that you are no longer stuck in circumstances and you can move to this new place. Saturn is known also as the Lord of Karma or the Lord of Harvest, and this makes a lot of sense in the context of Ray. So you will reap what you have sowed. And that goes for all of us, because Saturn is a teacher, Saturn is a father. And you think of your father and your mother. Your father, you learned hard lessons with more. If you were lucky and you had a father in your life, there were hard lessons there. Fathers aren't normally, like, there can be cuddly, lovely fathers, but essentially they're there to really guide and teach you, and that's just the paternal role there. So Saturn acts as the same thing. It's a long lesson, 28 and a half years. We always hear about things being a Mercury retrograde and we're having a Venus return. These come around a lot more quickly. Saturn is the longest traversing planet, I think. I really do believe that, and I'll make sure I have facts for you on that next week. However, the Lord of Karma and Harvest, you will reap what you sow. It's time when your hard work will be rewarded, but if there has been neglect or carelessness, the natural consequences will not be able to be avoided. Saturn is asking you to claim your authority, to step up to the plate. It's inappropriate to wait for somebody else to do it when Saturn's talking to you. And so with that context, to me, it makes perfect sense to the place that Ray found himself at 59. He was convicted of negligent homicide. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Another Bible verse comes to my mind here, guys, and I don't know what's going on this week, but they were just flashing into my mind. You guys know I have a Christian grounding and base, but it was Daniel chapter 5, verse 27. And this verse is actually where the phrase, the writing on the wall, comes from. So if you've ever heard someone say that, the writing's on the wall, that song comes to my mind, it's where this verse comes from. And I'll be brief, but it was essentially, it's a long story, but I'll tell you, there was a hand that appeared on the palace walls of a certain kingdom in the Bible that's written about, and it was just a magical hand. Nobody's hand was connected to it. They essentially said it was a hand of God. And the hand wrote on the wall, Mene, Mene, Tekel. And what Tekel translates to is, you have been weighed in the balance and found wanting. So what was happening was this kingdom was being judged, and Daniel was a prophet. He was there, and the people weren't listening to him. And so God came in himself, literally, from what the Bible says, and wrote on the wall, and it just appeared out of nowhere, meeny, meeny, tickle, and that is what pretty much was the judgment of the kingdom. So it was to God saying, the kingdom is going to be judged because you guys are not doing the right thing. You're not listening to my prophet, essentially. You have been weighed in the balance, and you have been found wanting, meaning your character or this situation has been assessed and you are lacking integrity or strength. Now, our second Saturn return ways are character. For Ray, he was found wanting. And I think that when I was watching this documentary, I thought, he's not still taking responsibility for it. So I found a quote from him from People. He says, I believe totally and completely that we all must take full and complete responsibility for our lives. And I have taken full and complete control and responsibility for the situation that occurred. He said, my work was never on trial. The tragedy was on trial. The jury found absolutely no shred of evidence of intentional misconduct or harm. It was a tragic accident, and it was determined to be negligent. And because 3 people died, it was determined to be criminally negligent. He says it was. He's still selling. Not I was determined to be criminally negligent, an act that happened, that he led people into, but he can't say I. That's where we're fallible. I'm not going to judge him. He's already been judged, and he served his 2 years. He said, I repented, I grieved, I anguished, and I finally got my head back on and began studying my craft and how I was going to utilize that better for my own life and also to better the lives of people that I'm blessed to serve. The comeback and the back and the be back and the I am back is here. He says a lot of what entails me doing is this processing for myself exactly what occurred and going through that process of responsibility, redemption, and then moving toward resilience. Now, it's interesting to me because I want you to watch it. The first 10 minutes are compelling. I don't think he's fully, at that moment, they literally filmed him coming out of prison, so I still think he was in shock. He was still going through things. He might be in a different place now. But when I saw it, I thought, it's very interesting. I don't know if he fully is taking responsibility. And so the person that did the documentary was fascinating. She said, I wanted to do it because their story was deep and tragic and so understandably complicated. And so she wanted to follow up after she met with Ray. And I thought that it absolutely was a very fitting thing to talk about today in regards to gurus, because was he bad? Is he bad? Is he bad? Is he good? Did he help people? Yes. Did he have breakthroughs? Yes. Was he acquisitory? Did he care about money? Yes. Is he human? Yes. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have an answer for you today. Today it's Jeopardy. I'm asking questions. What is the truth? That is the question I'm always asking. And the reason I bring Ray up today is because there has been a recent new shakeup. We had all these eclipses, and I talked about all the changes, some of the weather stuff that would happen, the political things that have been happening. I don't think that I have told you any untruths. It has been like rock'em sock'em in the last month and a half since we've been dealing with these eclipses in all regards. But one of the things that happened on a microcosm for me in the spiritual community is Doreen Virtue, if you were familiar with her, she's kind of known as the angel card lady. She denounced a lot of the decks that she created and a lot of the work that she'd done. And this caused people to lose their mind in the spiritual community. I can't tell you how many think pieces I've read. I can't tell you how many YouTubers I've watched. I can't tell you how much I have had to have my own little dark night of the soul and say, what is truth for me? I have been angry. I have been disappointed. I have been upset. I have been kind of validated because there were some moments, and I'll share them with you, where I thought, something is not all the way right here. I don't like this part, but I'm going to take from this. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. The name of the show is The Myth of the Guru. The myth of the guru. And when you're dealing with the idea of the guru, it's that this person has the answers. I like better that definition that we are touching people's lives and we are dealing with people, all of us interacting, and we are bringing the ability to be initiated into a new level. I think that feels better for me. That resonates with me. Someone having all of the answers is never the move. It's never the thing. Because what you will become is disillusioned, and what you will be is like those 3 people, God rest their soul, that lost their lives following. Really, they cared. They trusted this person. They wanted help. They wanted enlightenment, and they felt like he alone had an answer. But there are all of us have answers. You can find an answer. Your guru could be the homeless guy that's sitting in front of your local Publix that's asking you for change. Or it could be the Girl Scouts that are selling cookies that are asking you to spend $6 on those delicious Thin Mints. That could be your guru who gives you a message in a word. I've had gurus that were my 4-year-olds that I taught. Well, I taught them the word taught. My 4-year-olds that I taught when I was a teacher many years ago. I remember asking this one little girl named Kelsey, a sweet little redhead that I loved so much, and she was super Southern, and I was debating the next path in my life and where I should go, and should there be another level of school for me. My director had wanted me to take on more responsibilities at the daycare, and it involved more education. And so I thought, okay, and I was doing it. But before I made that decision to actually become a teacher, and I was just doing this at that moment, I said to little Kelsey in our book that I created, I said, Kelsey, do you think I should go back to school and actually become a teacher? And she looked at me with her beautiful blue eyes, and she said, Miss Monette, you're already a teacher. Truth. From the mouth of babes, that day, little Miss Kelsey was my guru. She had a nugget of wisdom for me, something that was right in front of my face that I had missed. And yes, I went and I did the rest, and I got all the things I needed to get. But in that moment, I was struggling, and I was feeling insecure, and I wasn't sure. And what she said to me blew me away and has for the rest of my life, because in all areas I am a teacher, whether I have wanted to be or not, whether that's comfortable or not. But what she was telling me was a universal spiritual truth for me. Your job here on earth, Miss Monette, is to teach. That's what my actual job is. That may not be what your job is as a listener. You will have to know and discern for yourself what your mission is here. But for me, at that young age of 20-something, I realized that this girl had just told me a secret to my life. You are already a teacher. Why are you seeking to be something other than what you already are? Because to me, and to her little mind, it was simple. Well, you're my teacher, so you're already a teacher, so why do you need to go be more of a teacher? I get it. I know maybe for her it wasn't that profound, but for me, it was profound, and that's what I mean by anybody can be your guru. Now, does that mean that because Kelsey had a sweet word for me that I needed to go move into Kelsey's house and listen to her talk to me for the rest of my life and watch her grow up and go to her first prom and then ride with her in the back seat to the limo? That'd be weird, right? Yes, it would. Does that mean that the homeless guy that offers you the insightful word you should go move into his cardboard box or live with him and his best friend by wherever they live, and you should follow them around because they have deep insights for you every moment? No. And that's the mentality I want us to take into the idea of a guru. I'd like to erase that idea because no one is really your permanent guru. But what I do realize is that we have an ability to connect. Every one of us has a lesson to teach. Every one of us is a guru at times. I have friends I talk to all the time that impart wisdom to me. I impart wisdom to them. It could come from an Instagram post. That could be your guru for the day. But it doesn't mean that you go find whoever sent that post and you move into their house and you never ever leave because you just want to sit at their feet and learn forever. What they had for you in that moment was what you needed to have. And that is what you were supposed to take away. There is a danger in following people. And so with Miss Doreen, we'll get back to her, she had created quite the following. Multi-million-dollar business in selling tarot cards and angel decks and this, that, and the third with Hay House, one of my favorite publishing companies. God bless Louise Souls. Louise Hay's soul. She just passed, and she was the founder of Hay House. She lived to a very ripe age in her 90s, and she was living her best life. So I am not sad she passed. I'm grateful for what she gave, because she was a teacher and a guru in her way. But she always taught not to